in brotherhood with those young men from all those different countries, to study and to go to lectures with them, to talk and joke and argue, to share meals and play football and basketball with them, and to miss quite a few of them for the rest of my life. If it hadn't been for that wrong turning, I'd never have had music teachers like Joseph Musette in Sydney, or Maestro Pralia in Rome, or especially Dom Hébert de Roquette, OSB, a monk of Salem who taught me Gregorian chant. And through him I joined his Gregorian Schola Cantorum, and which was the Gregorian Schola for St. Peter's Basilica in Rome whenever the Pope said Mass there. So I had this about just joining in with about 30 other people singing the Gregorian chant of the Mass whenever the Pope presided in Rome. It's just quite extraordinary to think of a boy who'd never been, I think even 2 years before, he'd never been more than a couple of 100 miles from Sydney, for things like this to happen to him. And you took it all in your stride, and it's only later, maybe when you're 80, you think, how did all that happen? Anyway, other blessings came through work. 32 years in the ABC, all of them memorable and rewarding, but best of all my 21 years in radio drama and features. My colleagues there were different in the way that those who make things are different from those who channel or deliver or report things. Their subject matter was drama, poetry, storytelling. There's really, I could go on and on about storytelling, but I won't because it's so important. And history. Stuck on the back of my office door were two mottos that only I ever saw. One was from the Roman playwright Terence in Latin, which said in English, "Nothing that is human do I regard as alien to me." The other, from James Macaulay, said in part, "Give us back the images." What I took these words to mean, privately, I knew that my staff believed, each in their own way, believed in it too. And so, thank you, Julianne. Sorry, I didn't expect to do this, it's ridiculous, but just thinking of you all. Julianne, Rodney, Roz, Jane, Ronnie, Andrew, Kay, Tim, David, Bob Peach, Gwen McGregor, all. And thank you, Ron Hadrick, Max Meldrum, Lyndall, Neil Fitzpatrick, Anne Haddy, Tim Elliott, John Bell, Anna Volska, Rick Hutton. Look, I could go on for hours, people who delighted all of Australia at times. And thank you, Colin Free, David Netheim, Ian Reid, Barry Oakley, Peter Yeldham, Shan Benson, Alec Hope, so many, many others. And thank you, Stuart Revel, our guardian angel in London and later in Broadcast House. Thank you for looking after us. As Ronnie Blair said once, you were the only bloke in that dump who cared for us or what we did. Anyway, it may have been true, I'm not sure. I think it was. There were other blessings, writers and contributors who became cherished friends. Michael Alexander in Britain, or Derry Jeffers in Britain, Bernard Share in Dublin, Des O'Grady in Rome, Mariella Totaro Genevois and her lovely mother in Naples, the pair of them central to one of the best radio features I made. And on a famous occasion, Peter Lehman, the feature Barosso Winemaker, of which Peter was the star, Peter? Oh yeah, he was. Got a special award from the ABC's marketing arm for the most cassette copies sold in that year. But I'm not going to say any more, but you may want to ask Peter afterwards how I unwittingly diddled him of thousands of dollars and saved in royalties and saved the ABC a lot of money. And then there were the blessings that came with music. As young producers at the start of our careers, Nigel Butterley and I shared many things, all sorts of things. We talked about anything under the sun. So remember, they were great days, Nigel. Particularly remember once coming out of the town hall. There was no opera house at that time, of course. After listening to the Planet Suite, and I had said, I thought that some of it was, you know, I wasn't mad about Holst, but I said that I liked the Saturn movement. And you said, a man with greater musical gift and greater sort of judgment than me, but you said, oh yes, that was Connolly music. And, hang on, I was knocking Gustav Holst, but I didn't mean to be flattered by someone like Nigel to that extent. Anyway, you've doubtless forgotten this ridiculous statement of yours. In the crypt of St Mary's Cathedral and on ABC television, together with David Russell, Germaine Greer, and a cast of, well, not quite thousands, but a hell of a lot, in the medieval play, we sang together. I was Daniel, and Nigel was the prophet Habakkuk, who brought food to me when I was stranded in the lion's den. And he accompanied it with a song that went something like this. Surge frater ucibum capias, tuas Deus vidit angustias, and so forth and so on. And he'd bring me this lovely food. And one night, he turned up with the song, but without the food. Nobody, was it the opening night? Marcel Marceau could not have done a better job. Nigel also did beautiful arrangements of two of the hymns I wrote with James Macaulay, and their arrangements that recently, I thank God, dug out from somewhere and revived. And then there was another great musical experience. Mainly in the 60s, I wrote quite a lot of film and television music, and in the course of that there was the joy of working often with Don Burrows and George Gollick. Those two extraordinary musicians showed me, as also good actors showed me, that good performance means collaboration and generosity. And they were both very, very generous. And when either of those two men, particularly Don, I think, played my music, it came out so much better than it had ever been in my own head. That's what performers, really, magicians do. They turned it to gold. Jim Macaulay said the same thing about Ron Hadrick reading his poetry. Best of all the blessings, probably, but certainly the extraordinary one, was the day that Ted Kennedy introduced me to James Macaulay and the years of friendship that followed. The 20 or so hymns that Jim and I made are the best, the finest thing I have ever done in any field except for the family. That is, I could go on and on about that, but that's just the plain fact about my life that I want to say, and that I can't really add to it. It's just basic. So I've said it all except for one thing. There's been one omission. I just want to thank Cynthia from the bottom of my heart for being you, for having you, and for being so wonderful, and really I must say, looking after me. Thank you, darling. Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone.
Take a bow, Dad. Take a bow.